Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Best Damn Sports. Apologize for being late. It is all Luke's fault. My name is Peter, and joining me today is Luke. Luke, how you doing today?
It's not Jeff, but you could also call me Luke. I'm doing phenomenal tonight. How are you doing, Peter?
I could be doing a lot better, but I could be doing a lot worse too. But you know what? I feel like start these things off negatively. Let's start positively. Luke, how about them Yankees?
I it's a good time. It's a really good time to be a Yankees fan right now. Obviously clinched the playoffs last night. Um, yeah, and I think we were one game back going into tonight. I don't know what the score is in the Toronto game right now. I don't know, Peter, if you have that up.
I
Um,
believe they lost.
oh, really?
Yes,
Okay,
I'm
and
confirming that now. Yeah, they lost 7-1.
they lost 7-1. And how did the Yankees do tonight?
I feel like you know that answer, Luke. I feel like
No,
you
I
should.
don't. I don't. I just
They won 8-1.
Oh, they won 8-1?
Yes.
Wow, that's crazy. So if we were a game back going in today and we won and Toronto lost, doesn't that mean we're tied for the AL East right now?
I mean, would you like me to just look that up too, Luke?
I mean, if you want,
This is
I'm
this
cool
is
with
good
that.
podcasting. Well,
This is good. No, this is great. This is really
here's what
great.
I'll tell you: you're not tied. You have the tiebreaker. You're ahead.
No, I don't know. I don't think we have the tiebreaker. I think
Well,
Toronto has the
according to Google, you have the tiebreaker. Let's see what MLB says. MLB also says you have the tiebreaker. They put you ahead
Oh,
of the Blue Jays.
I didn't think we had the tiebreaker. I thought the Blue Jays beat us more this season because I didn't think that we could beat an AL East team all throughout the year. And I'm actually surprised to find out that we have the tiebreaker.
Well,
So
congratulations.
congratulations to the Yankees. You guys are now at atop of the AL East. And um, I don't know, Peter, we've been doing the show for months, right? If you were to take the temperature maybe about a month ago, right? I don't think I would have said that the Yankees were going to win the AL East. Um, I think last week there was definitely a lot of momentum. You look at the schedule, right? You're going up against the Sox twice. You're going up against Baltimore twice, with the Red Sox squeezed in between. Anything could have happened. The schedule was definitely in our favor, and it just seems like they're taking care of business, right? They're beating the teams that they're supposed to beat. Um, how that shakes out for the playoffs. Again, I know we talked a lot about it last week. Some people, I think it was Ash that was saying, I don't want the buy. I want the buy. Like I want my guys to have the series off. You have to win less games, and it worked out pretty well for both teams last year who were on the buy. So uh, I think it's great. I hope the momentum continues going into the playoffs. And I think we have 4 games left. One again, 4 or 5, I can't remember, but we got one more game against Chicago left, and then a series against Baltimore. So a lot going in our favor right now. I think last week, I think we were probably about 5 to 10% to win the AL East. I think those percentages have definitely gone up.
Yeah, I mean, baseball's a funny game. It's a very long game too.
Yeah.
I'm as a Mets fan suffering the down part of it, but you know the Yankees have kind of floundered all year, but it's crunch time now, and this is the time to get hot. The Yankees are doing that at the right time. So, I know most of the year Yankee fans were not excited for their prospects if they made the playoffs, and I feel like that's totally changed here, right?
I don't think the prospects of making the playoffs was really low. I think as Yankee fans, we would joke about it, but I think this is a team that would definitely make the playoffs. It was just a little disheartening that you're so far back in the AL East halfway through the season, right? You fall. Well, I think at one point we were 8 games back from Toronto. I think there was one point where Boston surpassed us. So we were in third. So yeah, I mean, at that point it was a little disheartening, but I think there was always a path to the playoffs for us. And now it's not a question of whether I'm going to make the playoffs or not, but are we going to win the AL East? And I think at this point, whoever wins the AL East is going to get the bye in the first round. The Tigers have been on an absolute downfall over the last month. Seattle's been skyrocketing. Houston has also been on the downturn as well. So whoever wins the AL East is going to get the bye, and then it's going to be tough. Who out of the West or the Central is going to get it? But we'll see. We'll see. And like I said, I would much rather have the bye than be playing in the wild card in the first round.
Well, yeah. I mean, speaking of the Tigers, they lost again today, 5-1. But
Yeah.
Luke, a lot of people know us as either a Luke Weaver podcast or a Brett Beatty podcast. But what a lot of people don't know is this is also a Ben Rice podcast. Now, I guess you didn't watch the game today. However, today was the first time this season that the Yankees had a battering ram of all Rice. It was Max Fried pitching to Ben Rice today. Max Fried had a very impressive day. 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, and seven strikeouts. Do you like the prospects of Ben Rice being your catcher for the playoffs?
Yeah. And I think they're probably going to go platoon in the playoffs. You could play Ben Rice at first or catcher. With a lefty pitcher, you definitely want Paul Goldschmidt in the lineup. I think he has a really high OPS against left-handed pitching, and you'll take him at first base. You'll sit Austin Wells. Obviously, Austin Wells doesn't hit left-handed pitching very well, and you keep Ben Rice's bat in the lineup regardless if it's right-handed or left-handed. I mean, he's been smoking the ball all year. So yeah, he will most likely catch games, and he'll also play first base against a right-handed pitcher.
Yeah, I feel like he's been probably your most underappreciated bat this year. I mean, I know Grishman's been getting a ton of shine from everybody that isn't named Ash. Aaron Judge is Aaron Judge. Bellinger's been good. Stanton, since he's been back, has been, fantastic. Yeah. But I feel like people aren't talking a lot about Ben Rice, and I feel like the Yankees would definitely suffer if he wasn't up to, the way he's been playing this year.
Well, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I know I talked about Ben Rice extensively at the beginning of the season.
Oh, you're the exception of the rule, Luke.
Yeah. But yeah, at the time too, is sort of, kind of dipping the toe in the water and saying, well, no, he's off to a really great start, but it's been a pretty good volume this season on him. And again, he hits the ball really hard. Like really hard, and he puts it in places where the guys can't catch it, and that's the name of the game. And he hits home runs too. You can't catch him if you hit him over the wall unless you rob him. So Ben Rice has been really good this year, and I'm excited to see what he does in the playoffs. I think you hit the nail on the head, right? Judge is Judge, and the playoffs are going to be interesting for him because the playoffs have been his biggest crutch, right? It's been his biggest kryptonite. He's a guy who can bat over 300, put 50 plus home runs in the regular season, but when the playoffs come around, he just disappears. And if the Yankees do want to make a run, they want to win a World Series, he's going to have to hit and he's going to have to catch fly balls too. Like you got to do both of those things in order to win the World Series. And that didn't happen last year. Right. I think Stanton, right. I know you talked briefly about Stanton. The clutch gene wasn't there in previous years, and it was absolutely there last off season, which was great to see. And hopefully he can carry it over this year as well. And he's been an absolute world beater coming back off the IL.
Oh yeah, I remember that interview that he had, to end the World Series, where he was pretty much just like, we did everything we could, and he almost was in tears. It was, obviously I'm a Yankee hater, but like I felt bad for him. Like, he's battled injuries his entire career, and he got really close. And it's the Yankees are, when they're hot, they're hot. I mean, their pitching has been, I feel like, better than most Yankee fans expected at the beginning of the season. Their bats, while they have fluctuated right now, are hitting really well. I'd say the only, obviously Volpe's been a discussion all year for how bad he's been. But Ryan McMahon hasn't been very good hitting, at least since you traded for him. Is there any worry there, or is it just his glove is so good it doesn't matter?
his bat is what it is, and I'll take his glove at third base. I talk about this, and I think I've talked about this on previous podcasts or maybe on the Thursday baseball one, but I think this applies maybe more to catchers, right? Like I would much rather have a better defensive catcher and just if you're batting above the Mendoza line, like if you're batting over 200, I'm cool with that. Right, as long as you're bringing good defensive value. There's so many bats in the Yankees lineup that I'm okay sacrificing McMahon at the plate for his glove that he can provide at third base. I think it's a huge plus from what they had at third base in terms of what was it, Cabrera and Jazz. I know I've talked a bunch about Jazz this season at third base. He's a phenomenal athlete. He's a great second baseman. He is not a good third baseman. He doesn't have the reaction. He doesn't have the arm to really carry himself at third base. So it benefits us in a number of ways. Again, you get the Gold Glove at third base, and you move Jazz to second base where he's a lot more comfortable and can contribute in a positive way defensively.
Now, you did briefly mention it, but it is definitely something that's going to be a topic as the Yankees make this playoff run. Last year after the World Series, which I've never personally seen before, the Dodgers more or less mocked the Yankees for their defensive ineptitude, and I think like the quote was, "We just made them play baseball." And
Yep.
So how is that? Do you think just a last year problem, or is it something that you are worried is going to creep back up?
It's funny that you mentioned that because as you say it, I'm thinking back to the Toronto series back in July, or I think it was end of June or middle of July. That's exactly what Toronto did to us, right? They put the ball in play, they made us play baseball, and we couldn't hold our own, right? Way too many errors, particularly at the shortstop position. But I'm hoping that they've rectified that throughout the season. I'm hoping that the team has matured and just kind of get all the errors out now or in the middle of the season before the playoffs. But yeah, I mean, there is a large level of concern up the middle, particularly with Anthony Volpe at shortstop.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone's expected that he was going to be as bad as he was this year. I mean, I'm not a Volpe guy by any stretch of the imagination, but I know we all kind of called for it at some point for him to get sent down to the minors.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's any way he gets dealt, or the Yankees trade for somebody else for a shortstop, or are they going to give him another shot?
I think there's definitely an opportunity for the Yankees. I think if you listen to what Brian Cashman says, and he said this. I mean, you try not to. I know. But he said in years past, I mean, your job as a player is to prove that I shouldn't be finding someone else to replace you. Right. And that's exactly what Anthony Volpe has done this whole season and last season too. I mean, you are giving Brian Cashman a reason to go out and find another shortstop. And I think we've talked about this as well. There's not a lot in the free agent market for the Yankees to grab at. So you're gonna have to look to other teams, see what's on the trade block, and see who's available, possibly as a stopgap. For George Lombard, because I still think he's a year or two away. So you don't have it in your farm system. I don't know if Caballero is going to be your answer. I don't think we have Rosario for next year either. So yeah, I'd be looking out to see what's on the trade market for shortstop.
Good message from our friend Luke, for our friend Ed to Luke. His hair, Ed.
And I appreciate you complimenting my hair. I mean, there are some that don't like my hair, and that's okay. That's okay. I could be better looking.
I disagree. I think you're perfect. You're the perfect amount of looking. But segmenting to a much less happier part of New York sports.
Which part of New York sports that's so sad that we want to do we want to shift to? I mean, do we want to talk about the Mets? Do we want to talk about the Jets, or do we want to talk about the Giants? There's not a lot of good that's going on in New York sports right now. But since we're talking about baseball, we can shift. We can stick with the Mets. And Peter, what is going on in Queens right now? I mean, just Just give me the temperature. What's going on over there?
Well, Luke, let me tell you, they're not in Queens right now. They're in Chicago, and the temperature of Chicago isn't good either. I don't know what's going on with this team, and if I did, I feel like I would be working for the Mets right now. I don't know if anyone's been able to figure it out. Tong got blown up again today. Again, I'm not putting any of that on him.
No,
he was put in a position he probably shouldn't be in.
Yep.
And he's a kid. It's just like his third or fourth start. It's not his fault that the Mets are in this position to begin with.
Yeah.
They won yesterday and the Reds lost. So that was good. Things started to look up. The Reds lost again today too, but and the Diamondbacks are losing 3-1 right now.
Yeah.
But it's just it's pitching again. I mean,
yeah,
like their pitching just overall hasn't been good enough. Even yesterday, a game that they won, they had to use like 7 pitchers. David Peterson only lasted an inning and an inning in the third.
Yeah.
And listen, I mean, he carried the Mets through most of the season. So again, it's hard for me to really be super critical of David Peterson because the Mets wouldn't even be sniffing a playoff spot if it wasn't for him. But his last 7 or 8 starts have just been dreadful. I don't know if he's hurt. I don't know if it's a fatigue thing, but honestly, it's getting to the point where I know he's scheduled to pitch on Sunday. I don't know I don't want him to start. I don't know how you could. It's that bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know, man. It's rough.
Is it?
It's rough.
I mean, I know I'm kind of Captain Hindsight here, and we go back. We go back to the beginning of the season. I know you and Ram were really excited about how the Mets were performing, and I didn't want to be a Debbie Downer there, but the pitching staff was overperforming. The pitching.
Luke,
the pitching
wrong, and I'll tell you
okay.
why. Because
okay.
and I'll tell you why. Because you said it was going to even out.
It's not
evening out. It's bottomed out. It's bottomed out.
Even down to the projected levels, right? Y'all were way overperforming for what you had.
I think me and Ram agreed with you at the time.
No, but in any right mind, I didn't believe that it would be this bad, right? I didn't think it would be this bad. You get some hope with Noah McLean. You get some hope with Tong. I'm already blanking on the other gentleman, Sproat, right? He's a gentleman. They're not children. They're grown men. They are grown men. Like they're in their.
Jonah Tong is a literal child. Okay.
How old is Jonah Tong?
Like 22.
Yeah, he's all right, baby.
He's a child. I'm 30. Okay, he's a child.
Yeah. All right. All right. We're not that. Come on, Peter. We're not that old. Like we can't.
Listen, I'm a Mets and Jets fan. In spirit, I am old as shit. Okay.
Fair enough. There's a lot of positivity. There's a lot of future with the Mets rotation. It's just you just kind of look at the holes that were in the roster, and it just seems like they're getting wider and wider as the season goes on, right? A rotation that it was very lackluster. We know
no one's doubting that.
Yeah, that was sketchy. It was very sketchy to start the season. I mean, Clay Holmes was a wild card, and he was a guy who was going to get you 5 innings, but he was going to let up 1 or 2 earned runs, and you're going to hand it over to the bullpen. I mean, he can't even get you 5 innings now, right?
No, but with the piggyback situation has been working. I wish they did it sooner.
Yeah.
And Manaea, I do think it's mostly injury related because he hits about 70 pitches and then just absolutely falls off the cliff.
Yeah.
Listen, I mean, Griffin Canning before he got hurt was doing really good and he popped his Achilles. I can't blame that on anything. You can't blame that.
But again, you look at the history of Griffin Canning, right? Like he was not a pitcher that was gonna pitch sub three ERA throughout the season, right? I mean,
I mean,
maybe. We could play these what if games all day, but
if it was an arm injury, I would be more inclined. I would be more inclined to agree with you. But it's an
yeah.
Achilles. That's a freak thing.
No, I totally agree, and we'll never find out how what his ERA if he pitched a full season, right? So Griffin Canning, Frankie Montas was great.
Listen, I still love David Stearns. I understand that this season is an abject disappointment.
Yeah.
You got Juan Soto and you might miss the playoffs. That should never happen.
Right.
He got Frankie Montas wrong. That's okay because I can also name he's been here 2 years and I can name way more pitchers that he got right. Even those who are struggling right now. Overall, in his 2 years, he's gotten right. Like Clay Holmes has been a success for what you wanted for the Mets.
Absolutely. I mean, again, for a guy, for Clay Holmes, a guy that pitched at most 2 innings in a game, and then you just spun him out as a starter, and now he again at the beginning of the season he was able to get you 5 and wasn't going to let up more than 2 earned runs, right?
Yeah. And
so
I think the bigger thing with the pitching at least is while yes, Mania really hasn't worked out at all. And yes, I agree that Mets it's final now. They lost 10-3. That is so cool. Everybody loved that. But so obviously yes, Montas was bad, and they didn't trade for any free agents. They didn't trade for any players during the starting pitchers during the trading period.
Yeah.
But how many missed they're the only pitcher that was traded that was notable went to Boston for his name just
Dustin May. Dustin May.
Dustin May's not a good pitcher.
No.
During the offseason, all the big names, there were legitimate reasons why it's good the Mets didn't sign them. Really, the only 2 misses you could say are Pivetta and Boyd, who the Mets ironically sold today. But it's not like there were these big names that did fantastic this year. So I can't fault David Stearns for that.
Okay. Let me ask you 2 questions because we're getting to the end of the season, and I know by the time we have the podcast next week, the regular season is going to be over, right?
Thank God.
Let's put this in retrospect. Let me ask you 2 questions. Do you find that signing Juan Soto could have been a detriment to filling the holes in the roster?
No.
Okay.
I think without Juan Soto, this team doesn't even sniff the playoffs and is almost an embarrassing team. Honestly, and this might be, I might get blasted for this when Ram finally gets around from watching it, but I think the biggest detriment to this year's team is last year's team because the team's very similar, and they were terrible for most of the year and got super hot at the end. And you could even call them lucky if you wanted to. So I feel like them making that deep run in the playoffs they did really masks a lot of the overall issues that team had.
Sure. Okay. And then, the next question is, do you think Stearns should have gone after starting pitching at the deadline?
No.
Okay.
Because we don't know what the prices were. We don't know what people are asking.
Right.
And based off the starting pitchers that did get traded, it's okay. Like, listen, obviously you can't be happy that the Mets hired David Stearns and then get mad when David Stearns does David Stearns things. Obviously, in the future, his future plans were, McLean, Tong, and Sproat. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he called them up earlier than he was planning. Maybe he pushed it up a little bit. I don't know. We'll never know unless he says. But there was not going to be a future where David Stearns was the president of the Mets, where those 3 guys were not pitching at the big league level. So, again, we'll see. I mean, these guys are getting hopefully wonderful, experience. There's maybe with Tong, it's a little bit more of a trial by fire than you would like, but if those 3 guys can even be half of the players that they're expected to be, don't forget Christian Scott's coming back too, and people were just high on him. And then, so you'll have a lot of options. The Tyler McGill experience seemed to have taken care of itself. Unfortunately, he got Tommy John surgery 2 days ago, so we won't see him next year. We won't see Montas next year.
Right.
There is a chance Senga might not pitch again for the Mets. I don't know. I mean, he's still in the minors, and Carlos Mendoza today said he looks okay. So I don't even know what the hell that means.
What does that even mean? What does that even mean?
They didn't sign Soto just to leave holes. They truly believe the team is better than it was. I agree. I agree with this. That's why I said I do think that last year's team kind of put a cloud of okay, now Chuck's just trolling you. You're lucky Ram's on here, Chuck. Because that's all I'm saying. You're lucky that Ram's on here. But I do think that last year ended up doing them a disservice more than anything.
Yeah. I
Did I lose you or did you lose me? I'm going to assume Luke got left.
Am I back?
I hear you, but I don't see you.
Oh, hold on 1 second.
This is just grade A podcasting. Oh boy, it's just me now. So anyway, yeah, the Mets just make me sad and kind of excited for the season to be over here. As we wait for Luke to come back. He did get raptured. Thank you, Chuck. Apparently his cell phone did too, though. I thought that would have got left behind. I suppose not. So, but yeah. So the Yankees have been playing very well as of late. The Mets have not, and that makes me sad. And welcome back. Not Jeff. How was the rapture? Oh boy. He's
phenomenal podcasting here.
Hello, Luke. Oh boy. This is not going well. This is not going well at all. I need to. Oh boy. Let's.
Want to ask you, Luke, why your jawline is sharp enough to cut glasses?
Are you back? Nope, you're still muted and you're frozen. All right, cool. So anyway, going over to the football scene here. Both teams are 0-3 and are just kind of playing uninspiring football. The Jets continue to shoot themselves in the foot with hill time penalties and other fun assortments of terribleness. And the Giants' Russell Wilson era seems over. I would love to know Luke's opinion on the Giants deciding to go with Jason Dart, but we may never know. I can share mine, though, which is I think it's way too early and it's a bit of a mistake. This very much seems like Brian Daboll trying to save his job after the 0-3 start, and I would hate for it to be at the expense of Jason Dart's career. Listen, I know Russell Wilson isn't the Russell Wilson of Seattle, but he still knows ball. He still understands how to be a professional NFL quarterback, and he could have continued to under shepherd Dart. And again, I feel like the Giants brass should have been listen, this year doesn't count. Daboll, for your job, Daboll, just get this kid ready for next year, and then we'll assess everything. But it very much seems like, Brian Daboll trying to save his job. All right, cool. I guess Luke hated that take so bad that he left.
No, I agree. I totally agree. And I don't know what's going on with my phone right now, but and I apologize to Peter here. No, I totally agree. It's and I think there was an article today in on ESPN, and Daboll said, this was my call. right? This was 100%. This is 100% my call. And Chuck is right. Yeah, I mean, and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. The Jackson Dart era is dependent on how hot the seat is for Brian Dable, right? Russell Wilson, and I'll kind of go back to Russell Wilson a little bit, but Brian Dable's on the hot seat, right? You start off 0-3. You're in New York. You haven't had any success since the Magic playoff season with Danny Dimes, right? Now Danny Dimes goes over to Indy and he's lighting it up.
Indiana Jones.
He is Indiana Jones, and you're 0-3, right? Let's take this kind of with a grain of salt here, right? I think if you look at the first 3 games of the season, is not the same quarterback he was 4 years ago, right? When he was in Seattle, right? I think last year was a little bit of, you saw a little bit of it here and there. And maybe that's more, Mike Tomlin and the magic that he does in Pittsburgh. But look at the first 3 games of the season, absolutely laid an egg against Washington, right? And then comes back game 2 and lights it up against Dallas. And you're like, wow, Russ is back. Like, Russ is cooking. Like, let Russ eat. Like, this is great. And then you go into game 3 and absolutely lays an egg again, right? Let's go back to game 2 against Dallas, right? Look at Dallas in week 3. Who did they face? Chicago Bears. They faced the Chicago Bears, right? And they got absolutely destroyed by the Chicago Bears. Like, I think Chicago put up what 30 plus on them, and Caleb Williams put up a ridiculous amount of yards. I think they pulled off one of the ugliest flea flickers I've ever seen in my life, and it's more of a testament to the poor defensive play of the Cowboys than Russ actually being good at quarterback. Right. I mean, Malik Neighbors is elite 100%. And if you can hit him on those routes and he's wide open, I mean, any quarterback can do that. Right. But if you look at overtime, right, the one time that it was clutch and he had to make a play, I mean, he basically punted the ball on 3rd down. Like, he just tossed it up to the Cowboys defense. Russ is not a good quarterback. It's very apparent in the first 3 games of the season. But turned it early, right?
Oh boy, seems like we lost Luke again. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not going to be one to discount arm punting. You know, it's a very, very good skill to have. You know, I know Peyton Manning was famously. Oh, Luke, are we there? I guess
we get 2 of me. You got.
No, but especially since and now I've been trying to in the past 10 seconds think of his name, but who was ever the 3rd quarterback there for the Giants?
Jameis Winston.
Thank you, Luke. They also have him, and I mean, as far as winning games, he might not be great, but he is damn fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it genuinely just feels like franchise mismanagement. If Jackson Dart is going to be your franchise guy, like, you need to give Dable be like, I won't, like, this year doesn't count. Get this guy ready. Like, because if you get it wrong and he's not ready to go yet, congratulations. You now have, what's his name? The Carr, not Derek, the other one.
David.
Yeah, David Carr. Congratulations. Like,
right.
You wasted that draft pick.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. And it's really only the Giants to know how prepared he is. I mean, obviously Dable feels that he's prepared enough, but I don't know. I think you're throwing a kid into a fire that isn't really fair to him. Right. And there's the other dynamic here that there's a very good chance that Brian Dable gets fired at the end of the season. And here you are again, young quarterback, has to start with a new system. It's not a good environment. It's not a good environment. And he is a very talented quarterback. There's a reason why the Giants moved up into the first round to get him. And I mean, he was probably the best quarterback in the preseason. Now, I mean, granted, he's playing in the preseason, but still, I mean, there's a ton of talent there, and there's a large fear that this is going to be wasted. But I mean, if he can turn the season around for the Giants, I mean, great for him. And maybe there's a chance that they found their franchise quarterback, and they want to make this a winning season.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. If it works out, then they look like geniuses. I mean,
Right.
Jackson Dart's the guy. He goes out. Your offense is now Jackson Dart, Malik Neighbors, and CTE Demon himself, Scatabo. Like that guy runs like Jerome Bettis did, and
Yeah.
his brain's gonna be very interesting at the end of his career. That's all I'll say.
Oh boy. So
But
yeah,
anyway,
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of interesting things going on the Giants side. I think they have a really good defense. I mean, you look at that defensive line, and and I agree with Chuck. I mean, the Chargers are a tough draw. I think he's gonna have the Eagles twice in 5 weeks. But on the flip side too, it's eventually you're going to have to play these kind of teams. Like you can't just hide and hide them away against good teams. Like he's going to have to learn, right? He's going to have to show that he can beat these teams. And I think the tough part for him is that the roster is not built to win. Right, the offensive line is not good. I mean, again, Neighbors is a great weapon. Like you said, Scattaboo, I think has potential to be a very good running back in this league. Outside of that, what else? What else do the Giants have? Right, not much of anything. I think the defensive line might be one of the best defensive lines in the NFL, but that's not going to help Jackson Dart. That's not going to give Jackson Dart the support that he needs. So I don't know. Maybe he can make up for the ineptitudes that they have, but I'm very doubtful of that.
But we'll see. I mean, obviously, fantasy wise, if we want to talk about that, if you have Scattaboo, start him because they're going to run the shit out of the ball. Maybe Dart only throws like 10 times. That's just practice your handoffs, Scatabo.
I mean, and Dart. I mean, Dart is a runner too, right? So I'm not sure if they've developed a separate playbook for him. I know that even before the Dallas game, they said that they had designed plays just for him, which was, I think he just did a handoff. So I don't know if 90% of the playbook is just him handing the ball off, but I have to imagine that they're gonna be working some option plays in there as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. Any other Giants points you want to talk about before we move on to the dumpster fire that is my New York Jets?
No, I think I'm good on the Giants. Just again, I'm excited for Jackson Dart. He's an Ole Miss guy. I'm wishing him the best of luck this year and for this game, but I wish the Giants had waited a little bit longer.
I completely agree with you on that. However, again, if it does work out, those are three very exciting offensive
Pieces.
Players.
Yeah.
Pieces to work around. And especially Scatabo. I'm a big fan of his. But Speaking of CT brain injuries, the New York Jets on Sunday lost just a really great game, really fun time. Justin Fields had a concussion and was out, and it was up to Taylor, who at least made Garrett Wilson relevant in fantasy again, so that was cool. I appreciate that. There are two things that I wanted to mainly talk about with the Jets right now. One is I do hope they keep losing, and I want them to get a high draft pick. I know they'll fuck it up, but I want them to be afforded the opportunity to make that mistake. My second thing is, and this is to Jets fans, what the fuck's the matter with you? Like, our head coach, this is his first head coaching job. He inherited the shit of shit. Okay, like this team was terrible. they did not respect the previous administration in any way. Like this guy, like culture is not built in the day. We're joined here. There we go. Let me put my hands the other way with a Lions fan. He understands what it takes to change the culture. We took a guy from his team to help change the culture. This shit didn't happen in a season. I'm pretty sure Dan Campbell's first year, you won one game all year, maybe 3. Did you get to 3? You won 3, but that first game took like a long time.
A while. It was a while.
Yes.
I think it was an 0-7 or 0-8 start. It was pretty rough. It was pretty rough.
You know, this takes a while. Like you guys got to ease up on Glenn. I saw him people were like making fun of him for when the Jets blocked the punt to get them in position to win, or the punter field goal. I don't know. I was at work. Blame Ed, Luke, that I don't know exactly. But it was
Come on, Ed. Like, why are you scheduling him on Sunday? Like, I know it's a depressing time for him, but like, at least let him be depressed at home and watch the Jets instead of like watching. I know he's not supposed to have his phone out. I'm not going to call him out for that, but
I would never.
He would never have his phone out on the floor either.
No. But you know, like people like anyway, a blocked special teams play for a touchdown, and he ran down the sideline.
Absolutely.
And that's
Absolutely.
Great. I thought it was fantastic. Like I like that energy.
What's wrong? And I'm not on social media, so like, what are the Jets fans saying about that?
So some of it was, and also it extended to after the game where the Jets lost, where he was like going up to his guys, clapping up, and I think a big point Glenn was trying to make there was, especially against the Bucs, the Jets had, and this has been their problem last year under Saleh. Like it's been his entire career as a head coach, he never got penalties under control, and it's been an issue again this year. It wasn't so much against the Browns, and they fought to the end, and I think that's what he was trying to encourage them. Like, keep going, keep pushing it. Like we'll get there. Like, and he's a motivator. That's what motivating coaches do. Like he was pretty hard on him last week. He said he played like shit. Like the quote that they're killing themselves. Like that's his like. So again, Jets fans, and also I know the New York media is not going to listen, so they're just going to keep doing that. But like,
I think the New York media listens to you.
Oh yeah,
you're a popular guy.
Oh yeah, me and all my 300 followers on Twitter that are probably all bots. But like, give this guy a chance, man. Like, we've seen worse coaches, and he might not end up being a good coach, but like, we're not going to know after 3 games. Like,
no.
We all agree Justin Fields is a stopgap until you can get an actual quarterback. Thank God Ram's not here to try to tell me how he's actually.
You should know. You should be excited. You should be excited about Justin Fields.
For what? So
you should be.
You already got a concussion.
Okay, like, do you think he was out there like planning to get a concussion? Like, hey guys, like, you know what I'm gonna do today? I'm gonna go out and get a concussion. Like, no, that didn't happen.
The way he runs around the pocket, maybe. That's actually one thing that I'm shocked. The Jets' offensive line has actually been pretty good this year, considering they had a major injury right before the season started. So again, I'm not expecting anything of the Jets, but like, Jets fans gotta chill, man. Like we do this to ourselves every year. And even though I didn't say it, in my back of my mind, I was thinking it like we barely lost to the Steelers and scored like 30 points. It was like,
yeah, maybe
this team. And then the Bills absolutely beat the fuck out of us and like show us what an actual good football team looks like.
Yeah. But sometimes that helps. Like that helps in the development process to see what a good team is and like what a good team does, right? I think the Steelers game I still hold gives a lot of positivity not only to the Jets roster but to who Aaron Glenn is as a coach. I think we can both agree that the Steelers roster is much closer built to win games than the Jets. And again, I know I said this a couple of weeks ago. I mean, Mike Tomlin is one of the best coaches in NFL history and a great game manager. And there you had Aaron Glenn in his first career game right up against Mike Tomlin. Like I don't think you could. I don't think you could ask for anything more in week one.
At the end of the day, the Jets still lost to a 45-year-old man.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, the spawn of Satan. I know. Yeah, no. Aaron Rodgers is not a good guy. He does not deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. He deserves zero accolades at all. And I hope
the Super Bowl in 09. I agree.
Yeah, no, I think yes, I think so. And if we're stripping people of things, I think we should also take one away from the Houston Astros. But I won't go down that. I won't go down that route tonight.
No, you know what? Please do. We still have 15 minutes.
Yeah, no, Jim Crane is an awful guy. It goes Aaron Rodgers in terms of bad guys. It's Aaron Rodgers, and then Jim Crane is just below. Like just yeah.
For the sake of life, I do hope there are people above Jim Crane. We don't have to get into it. Please don't. But like, Jim Crane's not the top of the list, right?
No, Aaron Rodgers in terms of bad guys is top of the list.
Is he's the worst guy that's ever existed? Okay. That's what I'm like. Again, we don't have to get into it, but I'm hoping that there's worse.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, I think there are definitely some historical figures that could probably go higher than Aaron Rodgers and probably have caused people more pain than Aaron Rodgers has caused.
Like Tom Brady.
Tom Brady is I don't know. I mean, just because he likes kissing his son on the mouth, like.
Listen, Luke, did you ever see Spider-Man 3, like the Sam Raimi one?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So you know the scene where the guy that plays Venom goes to the church and prays for God to kill Peter Parker? That was middle school me about Tom Brady. That's how much I hated this man.
All right. So now I'm picturing Peter as Topher Grace just going to church every Sunday and just being like, please, God, strike down Tom Brady and his beautiful chiseled face and just bring him down to earth.
Chuck, I actually kind of agree with you. While I do think Tomlin is a good head coach, I do think he is slightly overrated. Now, like he's won what 2 Super Bowls now, but like he's been there forever, and most of his teams have been kind of mid. Maybe is he overachieving for his team? I don't know, but
absolutely. I think that's the point. Is that you look at that team, especially in the AFC North, right? They're usually not considered the best team in the. Oh gosh. Oh boy, Peter, we have to have a talk after.
No.
You have everything to live for, my friend.
Not New York sports.
No, I think he's pushed a team that isn't really designed, isn't really conventionally designed for winning. And really gets the best out of his teams. I think that's really my point with Mike Tomlin. I agree. I mean, they end up usually a first round knockout. But I mean, you look at the team last year, you didn't really think that they were going to make the playoffs, and there they were playing, in the playoffs. Now, granted, they got totally bopped by Baltimore in the first round, but the fact that they made the playoffs was, I think, a really big achievement for him.
Yeah, I'd take that. I would take a first round.
So let me. I know we have time, and I'm hoping I don't have any more internet issues. But do you? Let me ask you this as a Jets fan. Do you yearn for the Mark Sanchez years at this point?
Yes. Honestly, history has not been kind enough to Mark Sanchez.
No.
Listen, Mark Sanchez, and I saw a tweet about it, and I think I actually sent it to you, Luke. A TikTok, not a tweet. And it was talking about how Mark Sanchez is only remembered for
the butt fumble,
and eating a hot dog on the sidelines. But lest we forget, this man as a rookie, beat the Bengals on the road in the playoffs.
Yep.
And then beat Philip Rivers and the Chargers in the playoffs.
Yep.
And then the next season, on the road, went to the house that Peyton Manning built, beat his ass, and then went to Foxborough and beat Tom Brady.
Yep.
Against the Steelers, fucking Mike Tomlin, against the Steelers, they got off to a terrible start offensively. But the second half, the team kind of tightened up. The Steelers scored no points in the second half of that game, and the Jets almost came back and won. The Jets, I believe, lost by one score. It might have been two, but if it was two, it was like a garbage time score where the game was already out of hand. So, and Sanchez got hurt. Rex Ryan mismanaged the shit out of that because he's not actually a good coach. He's just a good motivator. And like he stuck Sanchez out there in a preseason game with like third stringers. So yeah, of course he's gonna get hurt. What the hell's the matter with you? But yeah, I mean, like I see calls for Chad Pennington. I mean, it was a little bit before I saw the tail end of Chad Pennington's career as a Jet. He had absolutely no arm. So
it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty at the end.
Although in the most New York Jets thing of all time, he immediately leaves, goes to the Dolphins, and wins the division on the power of the Wildcat. So we had that. Then we saw Brett Favre for a year, who looked good until he got hurt and decided to not tell anybody, and then also did a lot of other fun things off the field that we don't need to get into.
I mean, if there's any time to talk about what he did off the field, it'd be now. I'm kidding.
No, I mean, if you're talking about the AFC Championship game,
no, Chuck, I think that's a great point. I mean,
I disagree. It was Sanchez.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think. Again, this was 2010. Forgive me, and I refuse to watch any highlights from that game for how much it still haunts me to this day. I don't think the Steelers scored more than 24 points, and the Jets didn't score a single point until halftime. So until the second half. So I can't blame the defense for that. That's on the offense. Again, like I understand Mark Sanchez will be a forgotten quarterback in history, but like the fact that he started 4-0, he won his first He won 4 road playoff games, 2 of them against some of the greatest quarterbacks that any of us will ever see in our lifetime. It's very impressive, and there's not too many quarterbacks that can say they've done that.
Yeah, and I know I've made this argument with other people before, but there's always this fight between game manager, system quarterback, and teams who are looking for the next Josh Allen, the next Pat Mahomes, right? And it's like, yeah, Pat Mahomes is Pat Mahomes, like Josh Allen is Josh Allen, right? They're diamond in the roughs that you're not, one out of a million, right? When you don't have that, what is successful, right? What is a winning quarterback, right? I got into an argument with someone years ago about Jimmy Garoppolo, right? It's like, no, he's not a great quarterback, but he's a great game manager. He's not going to turn the ball over. And San Francisco had a great defense. He understood what he needed to do. And it was the same thing with Mark Sanchez, right? He was not a phenomenal quarterback. He was not lighting it up with the numbers, but he understood the assignment, right? I'm going to hand the ball off. I'm going to make short passes. I'm not going to turn the ball over, and I'm going to let my defense keep us in the game, right? And if we can drive down the field a couple of times and score a touchdown, great, right?
I mean, it's ironic that you're bringing that point up about game managing things. I do think that as it currently stands, in today, September 24th at 11:31 p.m., the Lions have the best game managing
100%.
quarterback in the NFL.
100%. And I will say the only difference for him is that he has a crap ton of weapons to work with. Right. He can turn to a number of different guys, one guy in the backfield or 2 guys in the backfield, right? You have Monty and Gibbs, right? You have St. Brown on the outside. You have Williams over the top, and then you have Laporta at tight end. And oh yeah, by the way, you also have Tesla, who can make ridiculous catches, right? He has a ton of weapons to work with. I don't think Mark Sanchez had that. I think Jimmy G. Okay, go ahead.
Obviously, not that many. Yes, not that many. However, his first year, they built a fantastic offensive line. and his running back tandem was Thomas Jones and Sean Green, and his wide receivers the first year was a little bit rough. I'll give it that. You had Dustin Keller and Jericho Cotchery, who was a very underrated wide receiver. The second year, his running back tandem was LaDainian Tomlinson and Sean Green again.
Yeah.
And then his wide receivers, they got Braylon Edwards, Santonio Holmes. That's pretty solid.
Yeah. No, they got the weapons. They invested in the weapons, which is great.
But similar to what the Lions have done now. I mean, Jared Goff doesn't need to win the game. He just has they have two fantastic running backs that are game changers, and they both kill you in different ways. Similar to the 2010 Jets LT Sean Green tandem. Obviously, LT was not the LT of San Diego when he was there, but he was good enough.
Yeah, but I will say that I think there's a difference here, right? Where the Jets invested more so on the defensive side in terms of their weapons, right? Whereas the Lions, I wouldn't even compare them to the Jets defense in 2010 and 2011.
Well, no, I'm talking about the offensive velocity.
Right. But that's my point is you have all of these teams who try to find, right, that Pat Mahomes, right, that Josh Allen, you kind of see it this year with the Jets and Justin Fields. And I'll absolutely agree with you on that is he's trying to do so much, when in reality, you don't have to do that much. And that's sort of the fallacy of the NFL quarterback, right? Is you at some point your skill level is capped, right? And once you try to go beyond that, you become a hindrance to your team. And it's those guys who understand where their skill set is that win you games, right? The Jimmy G's, the Mark Sanchez, the Jared Goffs, right? They stay within their lane and they win, right? It was I can't remember. It was who did the San Francisco Giants draft? And he's not even Trey Lance, right? They draft Trey. Yeah, you remember Trey Lance, and everyone was like, "Oh, well, he's gonna supplant Jimmy G." He's got so much skill. He's the next Pat Mahomes. I think he's the backup quarterback in Dallas now, right? You cannot put a price on winning games, and that's what those quarterbacks do. That's what those quarterbacks do, and those guys should be the ones getting paid. They should be getting paid, and you should be giving them longevity.
Yeah. Chuck, I just want to say I do see you there posting Sanchez stats. I don't appreciate it. Please stop trying to ruin the good memory I have of Mark Sanchez. But going back to the conversation at hand, in soccer, Luke, there's an old saying, "I'd rather be lucky than good." And I feel sometimes you're right. I completely agree with you. You're not going to find Josh Allen's and Patrick Mahomes very much. Find a Jared Goff, and especially again, it's ironic that that's the guy we're bringing it to, considering where Aaron Glenn came from. But if the Jets can build that same mentality that the Lions did, I'd be stoked. Now, I'm not confident in their ability to do that because the Lions, their owner Sheila Ford Ham has absolutely been probably the model owner, done everything right and everything you should do, hired the right people, step back, let them do their job, but still support them. Woody Johnson gets in the way. His son's a stupid fucking moron who bases it off Madden ratings. It's funny. For as much as a joke as the Lions have been throughout their history, when have you ever heard that about the Lions? It's a whole new level of just stupidity.
I'll say this about the Lions, right? And I've been a fan for decades now, right? It hasn't been pretty, right? You take the model of, I'm gonna let you take over. I'm gonna let you take over and run it, right? You think about the Matt Patricia years, right? We thought we were gonna be a copy of the New England Patriots, right? And everyone was super excited about that. I mean, those are some of the worst 3 years of Detroit Lions history, right? And it was all started with sexual assault scandal, during the press conference for Matt Patricia, right? It hasn't always been pretty, right? The I'm gonna let you run with it and do what you need. Doesn't always work unless you get the right people. And hats off. Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell were the right guys, right? And I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that Aaron Glenn is the right guy for New York. I'm hopeful. that he can create the correct environment there.
I mean, we'll see. But we definitely need to give him more time.
No, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I mean, and I know New York is not a patient place. I know the New York media is not patient, but this stuff does not happen in overnight. It doesn't happen in the first 3 games of the season. You will start seeing, if it's done properly, you will see glimpses of it towards the end of the season.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I do really like Aaron Glenn. I thought it was a smart hire, and we'll see if Woody Johnson can, not meddle in the people he hired. But we are touching here on the hour mark. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about before we get to final thoughts, Luke?
No, I think we covered a lot. I mean, just between the two of us, I knew we could get an hour. I know we had some stop gaps in between with me, me disappearing, and I apologize for that and leaving you hanging. But I'm glad we kept the show tonight. There was a lot to talk about in New York sports. I didn't want to miss out on the opportunity to talk about the Yankees making the playoffs. I'm very excited about that, and I didn't want to have to wait another week to get on air and talk about it. So I appreciate you being a good sport about that and let me have my moment.
Nah, it's by Chuck. Thanks for Chuck and Ed. Thanks for being there in the comments. Appreciate it. It definitely helps, especially when it's a 2-man crew. It's not as much to bounce off, so we appreciate it. So, Luke, was that your final thoughts, or do you want to get in your final thought?
I'll give one final thought. Shout out to the state of Michigan. Detroit Lions look great on Monday Night Football. Shout out to the Detroit Tigers for your total downturn and letting the Cleveland Guardians catch up to you. It's made a really interesting AL Central. I've been following it, and it's really great to watch. Just exactly what you want for September baseball. And shout out to Michigan Wolverines on the win this weekend against Nebraska. So state of Michigan's looking good right now.
That's pretty good. My final thought is about a forgotten team in the tri-state area when it comes to sports. And I feel like even though they lost, they got a lot of shine this weekend, and they showed potentially what they could become. And I'm talking, of course, about everyone's favorite Rutgers Scarlet Knights. They had their blackout game on Friday. No, I'm actually being serious. They had a blackout game on Friday against Iowa. Yes, they did lose. However, the hype around Rutgers football right now in this area is the most exciting it's been in a while. Granted, you could say, well, it's because there hasn't been excitement, but still, the place it broke attendance record for that stadium. It was sold out. It got national attention. Rutgers very smartly invited a pretty big college football social media guy and basically gave them full access to do whatever they want. Like, they're never going to be one of the best teams in the Big Ten. But if you can build a nice little niche of like being a solid team, every once in a while you knock off a big guy, and every once in a blue moon you maybe make a run in a national tournament or play in a high-profile bowl game. That's pretty much all I can ask for Rutgers. So Rutgers, even though they lost, culture-wise, this is probably the biggest win Rutgers has had since they beat Louisville all those years ago. I forgot to get one of those in for Ash, even though he's not here. But
if only he was here for that. If only he was here for that.
So, I guess that wraps that up. Luke, thanks for joining me. And on behalf of Luke and myself, thanks for stopping by. Go New York sports. Stop making me sad.